All right, let's make a custom theme in Hacks. Yes, this is a video of the blog post you're currently reading or could read on your own. So first of all, you're going to want to make sure you have the latest version of the Hacks CLI. I have done that over here. And next, we're going to run Hacks start. We're going to want to select, so you can push down. We'll do create a hack site, and then pick where it's going to live. It'll default to the folder you're presently in. So you just hit tab. In my case, I'm going to name this, what did I name the tutorial? If you scroll down the tutorial, you can actually just read what the prompts are at. So I'm going to do custom theme tutorial. It'll attempt to pick an author. It's not super important. But this is, so you're going to want to go all the way to the last option, create custom theme. It's going to suggest a name for you. It doesn't have to have custom at the beginning and theme at the end, although we have talked about making that part of the spec. I'm going to rename this custom tutorial theme. All right, let's just go with vanilla. There's two other ones, but that's kind of more once you get going. So then lastly is, do you want to launch it? So yes, we hit enter. All right, and Merlin's going to make everything wonderful. If you wanted to run this again without having to step through any of what I just said to get to this point where you have this very blank sort of a design, you could have just copied this command shown here, right? So we can script all these arguments and get you to the same point. So afterwards, you get to this, and this is the custom theme. Now let's get to the fun part. So for this, we're going to have to open another terminal window. Fortunately, the Hacks CLI is offering up some ways that we can get to this, commands to run. So I'm going to do Control-Shift-N on my computer, which opens this in a new window. And I'm going to do CD and change to that directory. And from there, I'll do code space period. Now, whatever way it takes for you to get to the files in question, cool. But what you should see is a whole bunch of files. This is a hack site. So every time you add a new page or anything in the UI, site.json will update. So for example, I could go and I could add a page, and then we come back over and we see that there's a new ID that's been added. I could write this directly in the site JSON data and refresh the browser, and now it says tweak this, okay? So the contents of these pages, as we would do some writing or add a bunch of random blocks, all the content is going to be written into the pages folder. So under pages, you'll get this hash value, and you can see the content of the home page in this case, or you can see the content that I started to just randomly type in the page. All right. Now, the point of this is not those things. It's custom theme development, which has been rigged up by the UI that you step through, CLI rather. So that happens under custom for custom development. So under SRC, you're going to see a file with the name of your theme, custom tutorial theme in this case. Now, what you're going to need to do is, I'll open up a new terminal window here, right? So we're in our custom theme tutorial folder. We're going to go CD custom, and we're going to run npm start. So this is going to watch our files. We need to actually compile them in order for them to be visible to us in Hacks. Think of this as the relationship when we do publishing to Vercel or any other static place. So you can see the built copy of your file here, right? It's going to keep constantly watching and compiling to this location. So if I want to make changes to my theme at this point, let's look for like site title, for example. Right, so site title is referenced, but it doesn't appear to be used in this design. It's got some boilerplate. So we can go down into the content, or sorry, the render method of this site. And let's do a UL at the beginning of this, and we're going to do, like it suggested, site title. So when I hit save, you'll notice these files changed color. There was a little flash. It actually rebuilt the custom.es6.js file based on the changes I made. If I go back over to here, our current workflow, you're going to have to hit refresh, but then I should see the title of the site. So we've got lots of different elements exactly for this sort of purpose. So if I were to go into site actions and do change it to, all right, it gets updated dynamically to reflect this. Yes, it's just the word awesome. Yes, there's not a lot going on with just site title. So there's lots of other elements available to you in the ecosystem. In fact, you can see that referenced here as far as the documentation that gets stamped out, right? So if I go to theme blocks, actually I can open that, there we go. So if I go to theme blocks, this has a better explanation of all the different types of blocks, what they do. If you wanted to, for example, put a Git corner on your website that just links to the underlying code repository, I could link to the Git corner and then go down and just throw this in my theme. We refresh. And I don't have a Git. I must not have a Git repo defined. So if I go to edit, let's see. Let's see if I can get that part to wire up. Site. Oh, we may have taken the Git settings out of the front end. It would appear that we did, unfortunately. It's been a minute. It's been a minute since I did that part. So let's see if you had under site JSON. We got Git. I feel like it's repo or something. Sure, custom theme story. It's kind of cool. It suggested that name. Nothing there. Let's inspect. Dig into this element. Site Git corner. Direction right. It's supposed to float to the right. If I go to the shadow root of it, I feel like it should be somewhere on the page, don't you? Let's look at how that one works. Site Git corner. Other designs have styled and placed this. Let's go with that. CSS site Git corner, but I'm looking for the tag. There we go. So site Git corner is looking for public repo URL. Yeah, I would have never guessed that. So if I change that to public repo URL, all right. Hey, there's our site Git corner. All right. That's kind of a more nuanced hidden setting for sure. But the idea is that we have these different blocks, right? So if you wanted a recent content block, right? And so as you're going through, you got a block area. Let's say that in the main article area, we've got the content container, and anything that's in the content container, right? This line, and it actually says like, do not modify this, right? So these two lines you really can't change. Basically everything else you can. So if I were to throw in a site recent content block, right? And then I go to the top, and we gotta throw in the reference to it. And so we import that element. Let's get menu buttons can be there. That's what's actually providing the forward and backward navigation. We could move the title in next to recent content for no reason. And then Hit save, sure, why not? Tweak this. There doesn't appear to be any recent content. I feel like there's recent content, you know? Title is not defined. Oh, does recent content need a title involved? Let's see. Title is not defined. Well, I may have to look at that element as to how recent content works. I haven't put a recent content block on a page in quite a while, so I'm picking bad examples here. And you can get the tags of the current page. Fields, you could add a share widget. You can get the site menu, a breadcrumb trail as far as where we currently are. Yeah, let's go with breadcrumb trail. That breadcrumb trail has to work. So if we throw in breadcrumb, and now we that. Actually, let's not put that up in the header. Let's put that as active title. All right, and then we refresh our site. Don't have anything. Now let's add a page. There we go. Right. So site breadcrumb is starting to build out this menu trail based on understanding the structure of the site. Right, and then when there's nothing, it goes away. So we still have work to do as far as documenting, you know, how all those different blocks work, showing examples of all of them, but all of our core themes leverage these blocks in order to build things more quickly. So the last part expressed in the tutorial, unfortunately, takes some minor custom steps. And so we want to get this out on the internet. So I'm going to stop watching all of these things. I'm going to go into this space and I'm going to say, I have to go to this index file, unfortunately. And this is in the tutorial at the moment until we update part of our tooling. For this custom theme to work, you have to change this one line. The reason for that is it needs to be able to deliver this asset from the same CDN that the site is being powered by. So we'll definitely improve this developer experience in the future. But what you want to do is we hit save, and then I can type hack site. It will ask me questions. I'm going to say publish site to surge.sh. It'll generate some custom domain, asking if you want to do that. I will add to mine just so we don't have people do the tutorial and cause problems. So what Surge is surge.sh is a really cool publishing space as far as like statically throwing files up quickly. And so this address should now work. Let's see. Oh no, server didn't respond. Oh, there we go. That was just too quick. Right, and so here we have our custom site with our custom content, and it's got our custom theme. Hey, look, and my fun images work too on my sample page. So if I was to right-click inspect, we can see we've got our site breadcrumb tag, we've got our content, we've got our custom tutorial theme, and since this is still hacks, if I switched it to one of the known valid names, right, like clean 1 or clean 2, right, it'll just automatically flip over. Now it does that temporarily. If I go and refresh the site, it's going to revert back to what I had previously. So I will include this link in the tutorial as well as this video. But at the end, make sure you change that line back and hit save. We're going to rope that into the publishing step so that just is one-stop shop. Also being able to pick what CDN you want your assets to come from, all that good stuff. But if you want to learn more about the projects, please go to hacks.psu.edu or hackstheweb.org. Or if you want to play with it and have it installed directly in your browser, go to hacks.cloud.